show up. I kind of made a last minute executive decision to go live. We didn't really have time to discuss and plan it, but you know, this was too big of a event last night to not cover it. And I wanted to kind of give my thoughts on it early on. So we'll probably revisit this if the fellas can't. Hold on one second. I got him getting. There we go. Yeah, we'll probably do another video. We'll get together and record another video later on if they're not able to join. I talked to Mikey earlier. I know he's dealing with a sick family, so he may not be able to make it, but hope they get better. But yeah, man, last night, Tank versus Roach, that was a much tougher fight than people thought it was going to be. I don't think Tank thought it was going to be a tough fight. I think he was trying to tell people for a while that Lamont Roach could fight, but ends in controversy, man. It's a majority draw. Um, listen, the non knockdown call is what everybody is talking about today, which is unfortunate because I thought Tank did enough to win the fight. Even with the knockdown, I think he probably did enough to edge out the fight. Just going by the rounds, Plus, I think if it was scored a knockdown, Tank probably would have turned it up a little bit more, right? But he was sloppy, and if you're if you're a Lamont Roach fan or a Tank hater, and you think Roach should have won, I can't make an argument. I can't argue against that. He was robbed of the knockdown. It should have been a 10-8 round, right? Um, Tank has been fighting long enough to know you can't just take a knee and call a timeout, right? Like I don't think he was hurt. He didn't show any effects of a punch or anything like that. I think there really was just something in his eye that was bothering him, and he wanted to get it wiped out. I think that was him just not being focused. I think there was I don't want to say a lack of respect, but you don't do something like that in a fight like that. I think he felt like he was in control of the fight. I felt like he probably felt that he was just up big at that point. It's not a big deal. He just wants to get his face wiped off and keep fighting. And once he realized it wasn't going to be a 10-8, it wasn't going to be a knockdown. Um, he just he just continued to fight as normal. He didn't look that disappointed at the end of the fight. He did take responsibility for a sloppy fight, but he just didn't look that disappointed. You know, I think it was one of those fights where he was just like, "Hey, man, it is what it is. Good fight. We both have other things to go to accomplish." He did say he wants to run it back, but it's not going to be the next fight, which I figured it wouldn't be, win or lose for either one of them, because Lamont Roach wasn't in the plans. He stepped in to take over because a bunch of people didn't want to fight Tank. To try to get a fight done with Shakur, that fell through. Try to get a fight done with Lomachenko. Lomachenko decides he don't want to fight anymore. El Rayo, who was on the card, which is funny because El Rayo was one of the guys that they were trying to get a fight done with, and El Rayo said no, but he ends up being on the card and gets whooped by Gary Antoine Russell. Hold on one second. I forgot to put the. Give me 1 second. Forgot to put the do not disturb on my phone, so people are calling me now. But a lot of people said no to Tank, which is why he ended up with Lamont Roach, who fights he's a champion at 130, but he moved up to 135, which it's 5 pounds. He actually looked like he was the bigger fighter going into that fight, but he came to fight, man. And I think I'm back now. I think that Tank's. I don't want to say Tank slept on him. I think he understood that was a good fighter in front of him. I just think Tank felt like once they got to like the second half of the fight, he was already up big enough to where it wasn't that big of a deal, And I don't think Tank was ever really looking to knock out Roach. Maybe it's just a mutual respect thing or what, I don't know. But he never really. I mean, they mixed it up. Don't get me wrong; it was a good fight overall, but I don't think Tank was ever looking to really take him out. If that makes sense. Oh, okay. We got some people in here. What's going on, Bazel? Says, yo, yes, you're first. Omar Tillman's in the house. What's going on, Omar? Salute to you. Big Reg in the house says, what up, everybody? What's up, Big Reg? Coach is here. What's up, Coach? He said he said my old self fell asleep. I was actually up. I took a nap earlier before. I was actually watching the NFL Combine. And then I took a little nap after that. So I was rejuvenated. I was ready to go. Roach gained a fan in me. Yeah. Yeah. I ain't gonna sit here and say that I knew a lot about Lamont Roach. I've heard of him, right? Just because he's from the area. But I didn't, I haven't watched a ton of his fights. But yeah, I mean, excellent fighter. You saw he put it on display last night. That wasn't a sometimes great fighters have bad nights. Every fighter has a bad night, right? And sometimes you can see a good fighter lose to a guy that's not that good, right? Like we saw Teofimo lose to Kambosos, right? Kambosos, I mean, he talks like he's that guy, but he's not that guy. He's an average fighter, right? I think Teofimo just had an off night, but those type of fights happen. Lamont Roach isn't a George Kambosos type fighter. Like he's a good fighter, right? And I think people like Shakur Stevenson are going to find it out, because I saw Shakur Stevenson calling out Lamont Roach after the fight, and from what I hear, they might have already had something set up. So I think Stevenson looks at it and says, "Oh well, he should have won that fight. That was a draw. As far as I'm concerned, he beat Tank. I can go out there and beat Lamont Roach and show everybody that I'm a better fighter than Tank, right?" I don't think it's going to work that way with for Stevenson, at least. I don't think so. We'll see. We'll see. Jay the Six, what's going on? Says Ring Kings on Sunday morning. We are truly blessed. Hey, salute to y'all, man. Hey, man, look, we haven't been consistent over here. That's our bad, man. But just a lot going on. Obviously, Mike, he's been busy coaching the youth. High school basketball. Salute to him. I think the season's over now, so we'll try to put some more content out there. We talked about that. You see me and my brother every Wednesday on our other channel, Lunch Break Hot Take. We've been kind of neglecting this channel a little bit, but too much going on in the boxing world. Okay, so we're gonna give you some sort of content. It may not be live streams every week, but I'm actually leaning towards more produced content anyway, just because there's a lot of boxing channels out there that give you this style of content, which is cool. I like a lot of this stuff, but we want to give you something a little different. All right. Ferris says, is this on? Ring Kings is on. Hello. Yes, we're on. We are on. Yes. Jay says, thoughts on Keyshawn Davis comments afterwards. Yeah, he called Tank Davis food. Keyshawn Davis is an excellent fighter. And I think Keyshawn can give a similar type of performance. I don't know if he will be as good at it. I don't know. Keyshawn Davis is an excellent fighter. He's not, I don't think he's as seasoned of a fighter as Lamont Roach. He obviously doesn't know Tank like the way Lamont Roach does. They fought in the amateurs. I think they sparred a few times. I think it's that familiarity and the willingness to take Tank's punches. I mean, he had great defense, first of all, right? It's a combination of great defense, willing to take a punch, and Tank not taking the fight as serious, right? Like we could all look at that fight. I mean, Tank, the taking the knee aside, Tank just talking to people in the crowd, arguing with his coaches a little bit, just that I saw a lot of old Tank. You know what I mean? A lot of that, the younger Tank in last night's fight, that wasn't a focused Tank, right? And Lamont Roach was locked in. Keyshawn Davis, is he more talented than Lamont Roach? I don't know. Like he's talented. Is he able to stand in the pocket and exchange with Tank? I don't know about that either. Okay. It would be a good fight. But Keyshawn Davis wants to fight, and I think he should get it. Right? I think they should make that happen. Shakur Stevenson. Here's my thing with Shakur Stevenson. Him, Devin Haney, those types. Like they talk about making a fight happen with Tank, but then when they're available to make a fight happen, they make something else happen. Why wasn't this a Tank Shakur fight? Why is Shakur fighting what's his name? Padley, with Turkey Al-Sheikh? And I know it's a money thing, right? I'm out. It's kind of a hypothetical question. Or hyperbolic question, right? It's he wanted a bag with Turkey Al-Sheikh, right? So you're not going to turn that down, but you're available. Tank's trying to make a fight happen. Money can't be the reason if he's offering you more money than you've ever made, right? Like I know you fight to make money, but if your legacy matters to you, then you say, all right, I want to go in there, I want to get the win, and we can, I can set better terms on a rematch, or I can set up bigger fights after that with other people. But you just stand up from the side saying, oh, I can beat him, and you're not actively trying to make the fight happen. I ain't trying to hear that. Devin Haney, I don't want to hear from at all until he gets back on track. I saw him on Twitter talking, and you literally just got beat up by a guy that Tank knocked out. Right? You can say, he tested positive for whatever supplements or whatever. You got beat up and you sued. I just don't want to hear it. Okay. Now, Ferris wants to know, where's Brodny at? I'll tell you where Brodny is. He's right here. What's up, B?
What's up? What's going on?
Hey, look. I figured you might have still been sleeping. I sent the text out early this morning saying I'm gonna go live. All right. I didn't give you a chance to properly prepare. Okay. That's on me. That's on me. Okay. I wasn't prepared like Tank wasn't prepared last night.
Yeah.
All right. No, it was kind of spontaneous, man. I was just like, hey, I'm looking at the schedule today. I got to drive around, pick up some kitties, right? And I was like, let's just do a quick live stream. We'll probably do a more a more prepared video later on. We'll have Mikey on and everything like that. I just wanted to give everybody my quick thoughts on what was going on. Somebody asked about Keyshawn Davis. I think Keyshawn Davis and Tank Davis would be an excellent fight. Will he perform better than Lamont Roach? Lamont Roach did something that most people can't do, and that's stand in front of Tank in exchange, right? He did it. Isaac Cruz did it. And that's the list, right? Everybody else that tried to do it got knocked out. Shakur Stevenson definitely can't do that, which is why I don't think Shakur Stevenson can beat Tank. He can't fight that kind of fight that Lamont Roach fought. And I think the world of Shakur Stevenson. I think he's an excellent fighter. I don't care if he has pillow hands. He's a soft fighter. Same thing with Devin Haney. I don't think you need to be a knockout artist to be an excellent fighter. Just fight your fight. The problem with Devin Haney is he tries to be something that he's not. And Shakur Stevenson does a little bit too.
You don't need to be a knockout artist, but you do have to have some power. You do have to be able to keep guys off you, and that's Devin's problem. He can't really do that. Guys can just walk through his punches. That's not Shakur's problem. Shakur has enough power to keep guys at bay. His problem is he doesn't really want to engage with even lesser talents. People give him a lot of credit as this incredible technical fighter, and he's very skilled. But and people compare him to Floyd. Floyd was doing that to Hall of Famers. Shakur does it to second and third tier fighters, which is why people say he's boring and they want to see him engage. I don't think that he would beat Tank because I don't think he can. Like you said, I don't think he can take the punches all night. I don't think that he'll stay in the pocket with Tank and fight the way Roach did. I think he'll try to box and move, and he'll eventually get caught and he'll get put away. Keyshawn, I think, can beat Tank. Keyshawn has, not only the skill, but he has the power, and he has the attitude to put somebody like Tank away. Now, I mean, obviously, we've never really seen Tank get hurt,
right?
So, whether or not he can actually hurt Tank is another question. But I think he could, beat him in a 12-round fight. I don't think Shakur can. I don't think Shakur really wants that.
Yeah, and I don't think Tank was hurt last night either. He got
No,
he
he
got
wasn't
rocked.
hurt.
He
He
got
got
rocked,
knocked
rocked
back.
with a good shot. Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah. That
got
was a
knocked
good
back a
shot.
couple of steps, but he wasn't hurt.
Yeah,
I can't remember any time we've seen Tank actually hurt.
right, right. Uh, Larry Riley, what's going on, man? Thanks for coming through. Says he doesn't have enough power. Keyshawn doesn't have a chin. I mean, we haven't seen him. We haven't seen Keyshawn hurt, right? Like, I don't know
Okay,
if we can
Larry.
say that. Do not know boxing. Got that boxing thing behind you. You don't know how. I don't know what you mean right there. Tank submitted. Why you think he take a knee? Because do you think Tank was hurt when he took that knee?
You think that that jab that he took to the face put him down, Larry? That how stupid you are?
Well, I won't call him stupid. I don't
I
know if
do. If you want to come in here and talk about people don't know what they talk about, don't know boxing, I'll call them stupid.
I don't know if
Okay.
he's saying. I look. I don't. Did he? Are you saying we don't know boxing, Larry? I don't think he's saying that. Do
Mm-hmm.
not know boxing. Got that boxing thing behind you. I don't. I don't know what you mean right there, Larry. I don't know. I'm not going to take it as disrespected right out the gate. Clarify your statements, please.
But regardless,
uh,
yeah, Tank didn't take it. He didn't seem like he was taking it very seriously last night. Even after the fight, he didn't seem very serious in his interview. And so
I just
which is odd since he's fought Lamont a couple times before. I mean, granted, it was in the amateurs, but like the guy, you know how talented he is. It's
I
weird to
think
me that he took it that like I said last night. He's kind of I feel like he's kind of believing his own hype a bit, where he's like, man, I can just wait. I can wait. I can wait. And I'm going to land that one shot and put him away. And it
I
just didn't happen.
but you know, I don't even think he was looking to put him down. I think there's there might be too much respect between the two of them, right? They know each other. They've known each other since they were kids, right? Um, Even in the lead up to the fight, the last presser they had, he didn't want to talk trash to him. He's like, "Well, your mom's here. I don't want to talk trash in front of your mom, whatever." Right? Like, even like after the fight, like they hugging. He's hugging Lamont's kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like he just wanted it to be a competitive fight. It was one of those things like, "Hey, you took this fight when nobody else to take this fight." You know what I'm saying? I'm not out here trying to posterize you or anything like that. I just want it to be a competitive fight, and I walk out here with the win because I think I'm the better fighter, but I'm not gonna you know, make a
I think
meme out of you or anything like that.
I think he tried to put him away. Like, he was getting frustrated. He tried to hurt him a few times later, especially later in the fight. Yeah, like, I think what happened was he had something in his eye, like he said, which is why he went to the corner and got his face wiped off, and then came back and immediately started throwing power combinations. That's what I think
Oh,
happened.
we stupid. Oh, so we
Yeah.
stupid. Why would he take a knee? Yeah, because like you said, he had something in his eye. He took a knee and went got his face wiped off and went right back to fighting. Right?
No,
Like
the referee cheated for him. That was absolutely a knockdown. He should have lost the fight because of it. But no, he was not hurt.
So Larry, you know boxing, huh? You must know boxing, right? So did Tank look like he was hurt after he got his face wiped off? So a towel, wiping your face off with a towel, that wakes you up,
Brought him right
huh?
back.
Yeah, yeah. That's interesting. Well, thanks for coming through, Larry. You shouldn't be watching people that you think are dumb. So let me help you. Let me help you out here. Let's go ahead and let's get you up out of here. All right. Thanks for coming through, Larry. Appreciate your contribution to the show. Go troll somewhere else. Okay. Anthony, what's going on? Says Roach got a mean ass chin. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
And, this is one thing that I don't like about boxing in general, like boxing fandom, because uh, people act like this was a bad fight for him to take. Like, oh, he's scared, he's ducking Shakur, blah blah blah. He's fighting this nobody, and it's because you don't know Lamont Roach, right? People, did the same thing with Canelo and Bivol because like you're not familiar with him. It's a bad fight, and like it's not the case. Like there's a lot of talented fighters out there. I'm not saying Lamont Roach is, the top of the top fighters. He's not that super elite guy, but there's a lot of very talented fighters out there. And just because you're not fighting or not taking the fight that the fans want you to see doesn't mean that you're ducking anybody. Doesn't mean that you're taking on bad fights. Like this was a very good fight, a very tough fight. Maybe he thought it was going to be easier, and it wasn't. But the fact is, Lamont Roach was a champion. Everybody's talking about, oh, he's fighting the smaller guy. He didn't look smaller in the ring. And obviously he stood up to Tank's punch for 12 rounds, which no one else has been able to do except Isak Cruz. And that was only because Tank was hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, shout out to DC, man. The DC versus Baltimore. That's the thing right here. That's the rivalry. All right. DC, they up in that last night, okay? Because Roach represented, right? Just off the scoring, he should have won because that was a 10-8 round that they should have awarded him. He was robbed of that. I think if it was an actual standing 8 count, Tank fights a little differently. He has more sense of urgency.
It changes the rest of the fight, but I mean, as the scores were, he would have lost.
But regardless, great performance from Lamont Roach, man. Great performance, and great performance from Gary Antoine Russell. Way to come back after that Puello loss, man.
Shout out to Living Legend. I apologize. I told him I was leaning Valenzuela in that fight, but I imagine he didn't. Get the main event correct either. So I don't feel bad.
I think there's some controversy in that fight too. I don't know how those two judges gave Valenzuela 2 rounds. I went back. Like, 2 rounds.
They only gave him 1. It was 119, 109. The 2 judges had it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean,
how did he? Which round?
I don't know. I mean, hey, you know what? I'm gonna stick up for Valenzuela here. He did land at a higher rate, at a higher connect percentage than Gary Antoine Russell did. Unfortunately, they were both under 30%, so that doesn't really carry a whole lot of weight.
Gary Antoine Russell threw almost 1,000 punches, bro,
and he landed twice as many as Valenzuela. And Valenzuela left with a few additions to his face that he probably didn't want. That was a fantastic performance.
Yes.
Again, a good solid fighter in Valenzuela, but he completely washed him.
Yeah, so. Yeah. And speaking of Puello's a person that beat Gary Antoine Russell, took a belt from him, and I think he got away with a win there. I don't think he beat Sandor Martin, if you will. All right, I had Sandor Martin winning that fight, but they gave it to Puello. So he still holds on to his belt. I think a rematch between him and Gary Antoine Russell is in the cards, and I think that would be an excellent match. What you looking at?
I was just reading the chat there. Ferris sticking up for Larry because that's how Ferris do. Why don't you go play your game, Ferris? How about you exit the chat and go play your game so that we can advance that week? I'm trying to get to Miami. Okay.
Yes. He's talking about our online dynasty that we have for our Patreon members. Okay, patreon.com/LBHTShow. If you wanna get in on some college football, all right, or just hang out in our community, we have a Discord there where there's a Ring Kings channel. All right. You want to talk boxing? This is a boxing channel. We also have a main sports channel, Lunch Break Hot Take. If you're new here and you're not familiar with our work, but yes.
Ferris, I don't care if you're at work. You're in the chat right now. You ain't working.
Coach said he lost. I lost to Ferris in overtime. That was a good game, Ferris. A good game. But yes, no, like obviously there's gonna be a lot of people today talking about Tank. There's a lot of Tank haters out there. But my thing is this. That's fine. That's boxing. That's boxing. Like the people that you like, the people that you don't like. When you got guys that you don't like lose, you tease them. I don't have any problem with it. That's the game.
Yeah, I mean, Tank goes out and clowns fighters that don't look good in their fights every time.
Yep. So, but there's a list of people. But ironically, Clarissa Shields did not clown Tank. And I know they don't like each other, but she was like, "There's too many of y'all calling him a bum. He ain't a bum." Right. Like
it goes too far.
Yeah. But I have a list, of people that should not be talking right now. Number 1, George Kambosos was out there talking.
Hey, listen. George is not a great fighter. Yeah, by any stretch of the imagination.
He had a great moment.
By any stretch of the imagination, he's not a great fighter. But I will give George his credit. He goes out and he fights every time. He loses, but he goes out. He's not afraid of anybody, and he'll go in there and he'll fight.
He'll clock in on time.
He can't be number one on the list because there's a dude I know who's on this list who doesn't fight.
Well, I don't know who we talking about because number two.
I'm talking about Devin Haney.
He does fight.
Does he?
He does fight.
When the last time you saw him in the ring?
Oh, you mean just being active in general?
I'm saying he does a lot of talking, and he don't do a lot of fighting. He's like Keith Thurman in that respect, except Keith Thurman will eventually get in the ring with great fighters and acquit himself well. Devin will get in the ring and be hugging the referee's waistline, begging him to stop the fight, and then he goes to the courtroom.
Yo, did you see Keith Thurman? Keith Thurman got a fight coming up.
Allegedly.
And he was they're doing their little like online presser. And he was talking about how he loves traveling, and he's going to travel to another country to beat this dude's ass. Like I'm like, I love Keith Thurman. I love Keith Thurman, man. Keith Thurman gonna fight once every 2 to 3 years, and he gonna talk the most trash, but he gonna back it up.
Yeah.
And then he gonna go, and then he gonna take the rest of his PTO. Right? Like that man he's just living life. I love Keith Thurman, bro.
Yeah.
But yes, that Devin is definitely on that list. He was out there, he cracking jokes, talking about, I was waiting for the backflip, ha ha ha. My man, the last time we saw you, you were literally picking your face off the floor,
bro.
After being knocked out the 5th time.
Arms around that referee's waist like he was a toddler and that was his daddy.
And that was to a person.
Keep that man away from me.
And that was to a person that Tank knocked out. Okay,
yeah.
You could say, failed drug test was the reason. Nobody really buys that. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody really buys that.
No, Ryan's a cheater, and he came in overweight and everything, but that ain't an excuse for what happened to you.
But he came in overweight. But that's what Devin Haney does in his fights.
Yeah, it's different. Like he didn't cut weight, right? So Devin Haney, he rehydrates and he comes in. He's what they call a weight bully. But no, that's not why Ryan Garcia beat your ass all over the ring. Like it's because you ain't got no power and you can't take a punch.
Yeah, make the excuses you want, Devin Haney, but just you gotta work your way back up. I just don't want to hear you talking about Tank anymore. You caught an L. You got to erase off your record, but everybody saw it. You need to come back strong. You can't talk right now. You got to go out there and show that you're focused.
Especially when you got a fight coming up in 2 months. You need to turn off social media and go get yourself ready.
Yeah. And 3, I don't want to hear Shakur Stevenson talking either. Right? Like I just don't, because they could have had the fight. He tried to set the fight up. I saw him on the Rise podcast. I think it was a Rise podcast. He was talking to Tank's trainers, right? They asked him how much would it take. He said like $6 million or whatever it was. They sent them the offer, and they don't do the fight, right? Like, yes, I understand it's a business. I understand you want to make as much money as possible. I understand Turkey Al-Sheikh is giving you all the money, right? But if you want to fight the guy, you fight the guy, right? You're not fit. He's not giving you pennies, right? Nobody has ever fought Tank has said, "Man, I got shortchanged in the fight." You know what I mean? So I don't believe you can't sit there and say, "Oh, I didn't get the deal I wanted. It was a lowball deal." You're getting a lot of money. You're not going to get any of the other terms that you want because you're not the main attraction. You're not the A side, right? So you're going to fight where he wants to fight, right? Obviously, he's going to walk out first. He's going to get the lion's share of the purse, right? The gate and all that stuff. That's how it works because that's business. But you're still going to make more money than you ever made in a single fight. You do the fight, but you out here being undercards on other events, and you're look. You got some work to do too, Shakur Stevenson. I hope this Lamont Roach fight takes place, and I hope you win. Because Tank for Shakur, that will be big if you can beat Lamont Roach. I'm not 100% sure you can do that.
It's just irritating to me because like people will say Tank hasn't fought anybody, and that's not true. He hasn't fought the top names around his division, but that's true for all of them, right?
Right.
Shakur Stevenson hasn't fought anybody. If we're gonna say that Lamont Roach and Frank Martin and Isaac Cruz and Mario Barrios and all Ryan Garcia and these guys aren't anybody, then Shakur hasn't fought anybody either, right?
Yeah.
Devin. I know that they spent years pumping up Lomachenko's name, but Devin Haney hasn't fought anybody either, right? And he lost that fight, and then he lost to Ryan Garcia. So I really don't want to hear from Devin, but most of these guys haven't fought anybody. And so it's just they use Tank's name to pump up their own name because Tank is the man and they're not.
That's what it is. And if we're being honest, like Tank showed you last night, the caliber of fighters that he's fighting are much better than the caliber of fighters that everybody else is fighting. Just because they're not household names, right? Doesn't mean they're not good fighters. Pitbull's a good fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Frank Martin's a good fighter. And honestly, like some of these guys talking, I don't know if they can beat Frank Martin.
Right.
I don't know. Like Frank Martin, I mean, we gotta see him back in action soon. But he's an excellent fighter. Obviously, Lamont Roach is an excellent fighter. Ryan Garcia, even though Ryan Garcia is a weirdo, like he's an excellent fighter. Tank fights very good competition that gets slept on, but the same way Devin Haney found out, this guy is a lot better than I realized. I feel like people are going to find that out when they try to fight Lamont Roach and Frank Martin when he gets back in the ring. Frank Martin talking about moving up to 140. I just think these guys better be careful.
Yeah.
They better be careful. They want to fight these guys that Tank's fighting to show that they're better fighters. But anybody that can stand in front of Tank and exchange with him is somebody that
I'll tell you right now, Devin Haney can't beat him.
No.
But just based off the fact that Tank couldn't hurt him, he's gonna walk right over you.
I don't even like to talk about Devin Haney anymore. Devin Haney is too big now, right? He's never going back down to 135 or even 140 if we're being honest. Like this,
I think his fight is at 140.
I think this is the last fight at 140.
Probably.
I think the fight the fight that they're talking about with Ryan Garcia is at 147 or something some catch weight or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he's never going back down to 135.
No.
And 140, I think this will be his last fight there. Like he gets in the ring at 160.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And even if he says I'll fight you at 140, the reason why a fight wouldn't happen with Tank is because Tank wouldn't let you balloon up to 160, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're fighting at 140, I'll let you gain up to 145 or something like that, and nothing more than that.
I also love the way boxing fans look at rehydration clauses. Like, oh, Tank is trying to drain him, as opposed to why is Devin Haney fighting 3 classes lower than where he should be?
Right. So I don't like to talk about Devin Haney. Devin Haney should be fighting bigger fighters. Okay, so that's what he needs to be looking at. Stop talking about Tank Davis. That's what irritates me about a lot of these fighters when they talk about Tank Davis. You know damn well you're not going to get in the ring with them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just what frustrates me at the end of the day is Devin Haney spent most of his career, Bill Haney, spent most of Devin Haney's career talking about Tank, getting people hyped up about a fight that they were never intending to make.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they were never trying to make that fight happen. Shakur, I thought he was, and I think he still might, but like just what he's done recently, leaving Top Rank, not going to PBC to make the fight happen, signing with Turkey to get a bag, which I understand. I understand making your money, but you're still calling out Tank. You're not trying to fight Tank.
It's one or the other, man. Go get your money and stop talking about Tank, or go fight Tank.
Yeah. Keyshawn Davis, we'll see. I don't know if Keyshawn Davis will be able to make that fight happen either. Bob Arum doesn't typically work with Al Heyman. I hope they can make that fight happen. But I mean, look, Tank said he has 4 more fights now, right? Before he calls it a career.
Which means he's probably got like, I don't know, 10 to 12.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think Keyshawn actually wants that fight. I think that he'll push to get that done, and I think we'll see.
Oh, Keyshawn wants it with anybody. I don't think Keyshawn's afraid of anybody. Like Keyshawn wants it with anybody, which I'm excited for. Keyshawn needs to fight Andy Cruz. Andy Cruz is a good fighter. No, if he can get the Tank Davis fight, I'm cool with that. Oh, another person that was talking, our guy, Edgar Berlanga. Now I understand it. Berlanga. We like Berlanga here. Okay. We went to a Teofimo Lopez fight when you fought Sandor Martin in New York. Martin in New York, and I didn't approach him, but we saw Berlanga up close. He was talking. He was
mingling with the fans, taking pictures. Trying to make people forget that he bit somebody in the ring.
But you know what though? Seemed like a very down to earth person. Everybody that wanted pictures, he just stood there and waited for everybody to come and take pictures with them, talking with them. Very nice person, man. I like the guy, right? And him and Tank have been talking trash to each other online, so I get it. I get it from Berlanga. I get it.
And listen, I'll say for Berlanga, he looked much better against Canelo than I expected. I thought he was going to get destroyed,
especially when he got knocked down. I was like, "Oh, here we go."
So shout out to Berlanga. He showed up much better than I thought. There, we'll see what's next for him. But
I think it should be Munguia. Jaime Munguia and Berlanga should fight next.
Yeah, I think he'll take Munguia. I think he'll take him out.
I wasn't sure because I thought Munguia did a good job against Canelo too.
He did, but I think Canelo broke him with that uppercut because we'd never seen him get knocked down before. Canelo put him down, and then he got knocked out of the next fight. I think he's probably not in the best place mentally after those.
Okay, yeah, I think he might be right. Berlanga was more ready for a loss than Munguia. I think Berlanga was like, I had to cash out before he retires.
Well, again, it's the same thing Canelo did with Floyd. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's fine.
No, this is the business side of boxing, right? Like, you have to make money, right? And if you're not ready, you may not be ready for a fight, but if that guy comes and says, "Here's $10 million,"
you're up. Then you're up.
That's why Frank Martin said, "Yes, please and thank you, Tank." I took my L because Frank Martin, I don't think he's going to lose too many more fights, right? And I think he's not that experienced. He's a little bit older, but he doesn't have that much experience.
Yeah, he's got like 16, 17 fights, something like
that. That's one of those things where he could have benefited from having a couple more years under his belt before he took on a fight like that. But man, he made so much money. He hasn't had a fight since then, right? And he doesn't need another fight since probably ever again, right?
Well, it's also like that kid Patty. Well, Patty's there, right? He's not ready for Shakur Stevenson. He's not in that class. I mean, he'll probably never be ready for Shakur Stevenson. Shakur's just a much better fighter than him. But you jump in there, you get paid, and now he got to quit his day job, and now he's a full-time boxer. You take the money when the money comes knocking.
Now, for fighters like Shakur, right? He's made a good amount of money, right? He wants to make more money. But if you have an offer for $6-7 million purse plus pay-per-view, and Turkey comes and says, "I'll give you 10, 12 million, whatever it is," that's a lot more money. Mm-hmm. And I'm never going to begrudge you for taking more money. Not over here, right? But you can't have your cake and eat it too, right? You're taking more money, then like B said, you gotta stop talking about Tank. Hey, let's try to make this fight happen later on. I want to take this free money while they're giving it out, right? Everybody understands that. Mm-hmm. But you're taking the money and saying, "Tank won't fight me. Fight me, Tank." He tried to fight you.
Right.
He made you an offer. Why didn't you take it? That's my only thing with it. That's my only thing with it. And the fight could still happen. Mm-hmm. I think it still will happen, but man, you gotta until it's close to being done or done. Stop talking about it. Worry about the fights in front of you because if we're being real, man, Shakur Stevenson hasn't had a fight that people have been impressed with for years.
Yeah, probably since Valdez.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was at 130, right?
Yeah. So it's been a little while.
Yeah,
It's been a little while.
yeah. So, but yes, props to Lamont Roach. Shout out to DC, man. They had a good night. They showed out. Him and Gary Antoine Russell really performed well. The fight itself, man, like I said, even if they scored it a knockdown, I probably still would have had Tank winning because I didn't give that many rounds to Lamont Roach. Right, he had a couple of rounds where he wowed the crowd because he got some good shots in. But overall, I just didn't have him winning that many rounds. He like the punch stats at the end were similar, total punch stats, but Tank landed more power punches. He was obviously a lot more accurate because he doesn't throw that many punches. I had Tank winning, but listen, man, Tank did it to himself. You took a knee when you know damn well you shouldn't have taken a knee. I don't know what you were thinking there. I don't know what the ref was thinking either. That's a knockdown. That's a standing 8. And if the fight continued the way it went, we get to the scorecards, Tank loses the fight. No question about it. So, yes, in terms of that, Lamont Roach was definitely robbed. But I also feel like if it was a standing 8 count there, Tank changes it up a little bit. He's a lot more aggressive going for a knockout. Maybe he gets it, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But overall, man, I just didn't like the way he performed, man. Too much, just not focused on the fight, talking to people out, outside of the fight. I hate that, man. Yeah. I hate that. Like,
yeah, you can tell he was not engaged. He was not fully engaged. He was talking to the ref, he was talking to Lamont, talking to other people. He just didn't seem like he was taking it very seriously.
Yeah. Fair says, wait, ain't Berlanga middleweight? Why he talking about Tank? Because they all talk trash about each other. I mean, him and Bud Crawford been going at it. Bud had a lot to say about that fight. Like you don't have to be in the same weight class and not like somebody. They just don't like each other. That's all. And Tank says it. He says, man, I talk shit. That's what I do. Like I talk a lot of trash. It gets under some people's skin. But yeah, that's all it is, man. These fighters, sometimes you just don't like people.
Like everyone in Caleb Plant. Nobody likes Caleb.
Yeah, no. Tank got the iron chin of hell. Yeah. That was, good opponent. Jada Six says what really pissed me off is the announcer and cameraman giving Jake Paul the time of day. Who cares if he thinks what he thinks when it comes to real boxing? Yeah.
Well, listen, he was almost the sacrificial lamb for Canelo on Cinco de Mayo, so you can't separate him too much from real boxing anyway at this point. People are going to go where the money is, and he knows how to sell fights.
But a psychopath, I would stay away from him. They're not going to fight, Ferris. Like did you not just hear what I said?
Speaking of Caleb Plant, that's who Berlanga needs to fight.
Caleb Plant?
Yeah.
Oh,
he'd knock out Caleb Plant, but they need to fight.
I don't think so, man. He's too skillful.
Caleb is an extremely skilled fighter, and he will win the first 6 rounds 6-0, and then he will get knocked out.
Easy.
because he will be too tired. He'll be like, yo, is this one's 12-2? God damn.
I've never seen somebody, Caleb Plant, if these fights were only 6-7 rounds, Caleb Plant would be undefeated. He'd have beaten Canelo. He'd have beaten Benavidez. Like he would be the man. But unfortunately, the 12 rounds, I've never seen somebody flip the switch off after the 6th round like Caleb Plant. Like when he burns out, he burns all the way out.
His body every time is like, nah, man, I keep telling you. Stop it. I told you years ago when we got to 6 rounds, this was the limit.
Yeah, that is the limit. He pushes himself, man, and it's beautiful boxing. But after that, man, that is it. I've never seen somebody consistently just shut it off after that.
Ferris, I don't know why people don't like Caleb Plant. I don't know the man. I just know that he's been slapped multiple times by other professional fighters.
Well, no, he slapped
Well,
Jamal Charlo.
yeah. But and he had the back and forth with Berlanga because he said that Berlanga had no shot against Canelo, which he wasn't really lying. But obviously, nobody's going to appreciate hearing that about themselves.
Yeah. Attitude Pop wants to know, who does Tank fight next? Haney, Shakur, or Bud? None of them. Bud is 168 pounds.
Yeah, Bud is, that fight's never going to happen. Haney's never going to happen because Haney doesn't want it, and Haney's also too big at this point.
Haney is also 168 pounds, but he tries to fight at 140. And Tank went into a 135 fight weighing 133.
Right, and when you see guys come in under the limit, that's where they actually fight. Right? You know, like Floyd, he would always come in, a pound or two under the limit because that's what he weighs. Other guys, they come in right at that limit because they're cutting ounces up until the weigh-in.
Tank he held a belt at 140, right? That's where he fought Isaac Cruz. That's where he fought Rolly, right? He's had a couple of fights at 140. He came back down because he said he didn't feel good at that weight. It was too much for him. 140 was,
Tank is where he's a small dude.
Yes, this is where he fights. This is where you need to fight him. His trainer says, when he gets older, I mean, he's already in his 30s, but he's like, when he gets older, he'll probably finish his career at 140. But right now, he's been staying in shape, So like 135 is where the fight would need to happen. Maybe 140 for the right guy, but Bud can't get down to 140, right? Haney can't fight at 140. Shakur, is the guy that could happen for, but I just, he's fighting under Turkey now. Turkey is trying to dictate all these fights, right? He's trying to take over boxing. He's trying to dictate how everything is set up, and I just don't think. I think Tank is going to be one of those handful of fighters that he just can't make that happen, right? Like yes, he can offer more money than anything, but Tank makes so much money now with PBC and Amazon, with this deal. He doesn't feel the need to have to go and make something happen with Turkey, unless Turkey says, all right, you want to fight in Brooklyn, you want to fight in DC, wherever, fine, do it that way. You want this much money, fine. Like, it would have to be on Tank's terms, right? Kind of like what he's doing with Canelo, because initially he tried to bypass a bunch of people, go to Canelo. Canelo said, you got to do it my way or it's not going to happen, but we'll see. It's not going to happen right now.
Yeah, Tank's in that space where he's like Canelo, where he does what he wants.
Yeah,
like, he doesn't need anybody else. He doesn't need these fights. So you can't like strong arm him into doing a fight that he doesn't want in a place that he doesn't want, or for money he doesn't want. As far as what's next for him, I'd like to see a rematch with Lamont Roach. Yes. If not that, then I think Keyshawn Davis is the best fight out there for him. And then of course also Shakur.
So there's already a fight set. Like Tank said after the fight, Lamont Roach is somebody he wants to rematch. That's why he said it's going to be he's not going to retire until after 4 fights. I think he said 3 before, but he wants a rematch with Lamont Roach. But it's not going to be the next fight. He said, I want to rematch him, but it's not going to be the next fight. He didn't say who was going to be, but I think they already had that fight set up. And from what I saw on Twitter, I would have to go and confirm it. It seems like Lamont and Shakur might have something in the works as well, right? So I feel like this is one of those fights where there's already another fights planned for each one of these fighters, Okay. So I think they'll definitely revisit this fight, just because of how the fight went down. I know some people saying, Tank don't want to fight Lamont Roach again. Tank ain't afraid of a hard fight, man. No. He didn't take that fight as serious. He wasn't as locked in. I think the next fight he will be more locked in, and I think it will turn out differently. but that doesn't take anything away from what Lamont Roach did last night, man. You got to go into every fight prepared. That's exactly what he did, and you know, I'll say it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate. He should have just by off those scorecards, he should have won. That should have been a knockdown. He should have won that fight. And as much as I like Tank Davis, man, you did it to yourself. You went in there. First of all, you walk out with Jim Jones and Jules Santana. That's already an L. Okay. Yes, that's already an L. You should have walked out with Jadakiss. Okay. If you're gonna go old school, all right. Warlock Boxing, salute. Thanks for coming through. You don't go with the guys that got crushed in the verses by the locks. Okay. so that was strike one, and just I think he was focused up until halfway through the fight, and he felt like he was up enough, and then he just played around too much, and sometimes that will lose you a fight. You got lucky to get the draw there.
Well, and the notoriously slow starts, like you gotta, when you get in the ring with a Shakur or Keyshawn, like you gotta start faster. Like those, you go in there and you just kind of observe for 3 rounds because you're 100% sure you're going to win the fight, and that's not always going to be the case. Sometimes you need those rounds. He needed them last night.
Yeah, and I think for Lamont Roach, very patient. Most fighters go in there and try to get off to a fast start. That's what Frank Martin did, right? And he can kind of see what you're trying to do, right? Most fighters, most people that he fought do that. Most of them, which is why it was so effective. Lamont Roach was patient. He was like, all right, fine. You're not going to do anything. I ain't going to do anything.
Right.
But that's what also hurt Lamont Roach because he didn't do anything, right?
Which, by the way, is why I think that Shakur would not survive a fight with Tank, because Shakur is not going to be the aggressor in a fight with Tank Davis, right? He's going to want to sit back and counterpunch Tank and let Tank kind of come to him, and Tank's not going to do that. And if he tries to come forward, he's going to get tagged, and I don't think he can take the punch.
But no, see, I think Tank would come forward because he knows Shakur's got nothing for him.
No, I'm saying Shakur won't come forward. I think he's not going to be the aggressor against Tank. I'm saying Tank. And no, that's what I mean. Like Shakur's not going to do that.
Right.
And so he's going to try and sit back, and then Tank will come after him eventually, and he won't be able to avoid all of the punches.
I also think that's what will hurt Keyshawn Davis. I don't think Keyshawn Davis will be as patient as Lamont Roach. I don't think he can time his punches as well as Lamont Roach did. And I definitely don't think he can stand in a pocket with Tank, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I don't know. We have to see what kind of chin he has, obviously. He's never been in with somebody who can hit like Tank. But, I mean, he's got the power and the skill to do it. It's just, can you take the punches coming back?
Yeah. But, we just got to wait and see. He was going to call somebody out after this fight, but
you don't do that after a draw.
Yeah, you don't do it after a draw. But they do. I think they do have somebody lined up. I think we're going to find out fairly soon who that person is going to be. I think this might be a blessing in disguise for Tank Davis. Every fighter has bad nights.
Yeah.
You can look at any great fighter and they've had bad nights. Right, they're talking about Floyd Mayweather. Floyd, the one time he had something similar happen to him, they called it a 78 count. He hurt his hand. That's probably one like the 4 or 5 times he broke his hand in the fight. But this is similar to Carlos Baldomir fight, the first one, but people thought he lost. I mean, Canelo's had a couple fights where people are like, I don't think he won that, right? Mm-hmm. But it happens. John Jones in UFC has talked about that, how difficult it is to get up for every fight, but especially when you're the better fighter. Right. It's tough. So that's part of combat sports. That doesn't really mean anything, Bro, if y'all didn't see, this was a glorified sparring match. You effing crazy. What are you talking about, Eric? What are you talking about? guys, this is what I hate about this beautiful sport of boxing.
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't trying to pick on you, Eric, but uh, some fans get too emotional about this. Boxing fans are more emotional than football fans. That's saying something.
Yeah.
That's saying something, man. Like, we just talking, okay? This ain't a debate show. This ain't we ain't in here hooping and hollering like we just giving our opinions on the fight. All right. He said that was a great sparring match. Uh, okay, I feel you. I feel if it kind of had that feel to it. It kind of had that feel to it, right? That's what I was telling B Eric. It felt like Tank wasn't really going for the kill. Yeah. Eric, I kind of I feel what you're coming from a little bit. It was a good fight. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like they were out there just pulling their punches, but like the Tank had he hit him with a lot of body shots. I don't even remember that many uppercuts thrown by him. Right. I just don't feel like he wanted to posterize him, so to speak. You know, I feel like those guys, there's a mutual respect. They're gonna go out there. They're gonna fight hard. But they weren't. I just don't feel like Tank was really trying to take his head off, man. If he just didn't look himself, man. The way he fought against Frank Martin and the last few fighters, he was laser focused. He went and got them out of there. You know, in this fight, yes, Lamont Roach was a tough fight, but I don't know, man. When you out there talking to the crowd and all the other stuff, man. I don't know. He says, and I feel Shakur coming after this, and I'm not knocking what you guys are saying for sure. No shade or disrespect, but I feel like it's something big coming. I hope so, Eric.
I'd like to see the Shakur fight. Like I said, I think he knocks Shakur out. I think I think it'll be a second half of the fight knockout. Shakur's a very, very talented guy, but I
Yes.
don't see him being able to do what Roach did and kind of stay in there and get Tank's respect by taking the punches and punching back. I just don't think that he'll be able to do it. I think that he would get put down. I don't think that fight's coming next though.
Yeah. All right.
It'd be nice if it was.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be the next fight, but maybe in a couple fights, 2 or 3 fights down the road. Teofimo, I think, is somebody to look out for too. I think he would knock out Teofimo.
For Tank, I don't think he's
Yes.
gonna fight because he's not. I don't think he's going back to 140. I think
that's true.
Teofimo is just going to stay put there.
Yeah, that's a
But
good point.
Teofimo does have his fight coming up May 2nd, though. That should be pretty interesting.
All right,
We're
last comment.
gonna have to go and we have to go watch that one.
Yeah, and it's confirmed that the Haney fight and the Garcia fight and now Teofimo fight, it's going to be a street fight in Times Square.
It's gonna be awesome.
And I said in our Discord, the 3 of them that do the most talking about Tank, the 3 of them combined will not outdo what this pay-per-view did last night.
Well, but to be fair, how can you sell tickets to events that's just outside? That's what I'm saying. We go to New York, we just get a hotel, watch it from the balcony.
Right.
I'm interested to see how they set that up, though. I'm interested.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a really, really nice event.
Oh yeah, I look. I enjoy all those events. They don't sell well, but I enjoy them. I like what I like the fights that I put together. Tupac says, do you think him thinking about retirement was in his head, so he wasn't as motivated? No,
I don't think so.
No, I think it's just an off night.
He just didn't look locked in.
Yeah. So is that going to be free? It's not going to be free, Ferris. It's not going to be free.
No,
it's not the first fight that's been outside, but Times Square
nothing free, Ferris.
Yeah, we'll see how that setup is. I respect them for trying to do something different. It just seems weird,
It does a little bit, but it's the final fight or whatever the video game is that they're attaching it to. It's I forget what it's called, Fury something. I don't know, but yeah, it's like a street fighting game. So send them outside.
But Eric thinks Shakur is the next fight. But right after the fight, Shakur was calling out Lamont Roach. Right, he ain't saying anything about Tank. From what I'm hearing, they are trying to work something out. So I don't think that's next. But I hope so. I hope you're right.
No, and yeah, we talked about that last night after the fight. How Tank didn't even seem upset after the fight where he got the draw. Like he didn't really seem like he cared that much, which was was
Right.
odd. It was very odd.
Yeah. All right. I gotta get out of here.
Why are you booing me? I'm right.
Yeah. It's weird. Yeah. I'm saying it reminded me of old Tank, man, when he was with Floyd. He used to do stuff like this, man.
Yeah.
And it annoyed me. But I hope that was a one-time thing, man. He gets back to his old ways, or his more recent, mature ways, I should say. We'll see. But look, if you guys are new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It's been sporadic, okay, but we're trying to get more consistent. We have a third member here, OTR Mike. He's not here. He couldn't make it. He's taking care of a sick family right now. Get well soon to everybody in the household. But look, just turn your notifications on because more content is going to come out, and you're going to be sad that you missed it. Okay. All right. We didn't even get to talk about Benavidez and Morrell. That was an excellent.
That was a
Excellent
great
fight.
I'd love to see that again. I think it'd be even closer. Morrell did not back down a single inch in that fight. And I think that he doesn't have any experience on that stage and in those kind of fights, but now he does.
I love the way he fought.
And he knows he can take Benavidez's punch. I mean, you don't want to, but he knows he can. He can. And I think it'll be an even better fight the second time around. But we'll see. I mean, Benavidez has got bigger and better things coming to him probably.
But all right, we're gonna. That's it. I definitely got to go. Thank you all for hanging out with us. This was definitely the last moment. Thanks B for seeing the message and hopping on here. I wasn't sure if anybody was gonna come on, but I love this channel, man. We're close to monetizing. We're almost at 500 subscribers. We gotta get the hours up too, the watch hours up. But we're gonna get there. Hit that subscribe button, man. Tell your friends, tell your loved ones. Ring Kings is back. Okay. All right, let's hit them with the outro. You got that? You got that ready?
I don't have anything set up on Ring Kings, man. We don't ever stream over here.
Oh, we don't have it set up here anymore.
Well, we have it. I'm not sure. Is this the outro? We'll see. We'll just play it and we'll see.
We'll try it out. All right, y'all. All right. We're out of here. Peace.